I found 14 of the best and worst Gtag fan games, ranging from $1 all the way to $1 million. We're gonna play all of these games, and at the end of each of them, I have to write a 1 to 5 star review. Now let's go straight on to the $1 fan game. The $1 game is Banana Runners. As soon as I got into the game, it put me in this small box. So I pressed the play button and spawned into the real map. I looked in the mirror and the player model is horrifying. To get into the next area, I had to set my name, so I went to the computer and tried doing that. But the keyboard was horrible, so it took me forever. Eventually I got my name and went to check out the map. There was this really cool slide that surprisingly actually worked. Then I saw a hole in the wall that said, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. I went into the room and it was completely empty. There was literally just this little table and that's it. So then I went to check out the zero gravity map, and it wasn't very good. I got stuck at the bottom and it took me a couple minutes to get out. But there was this cool snow map that I actually really liked, except from another empty house. Then I saw a rising lava game mode, so I went to try that. The lava was blocking the entrance, so I had to wait a bit for it to go away. And once it finally went away, I beat the map easily. There wasn't anything else in the game, so I just decided to leave. Banana Runners was better than I thought it would be, so I'm giving it 3.5 stars. The map looked nice and there were a lot of game modes. Now let's move on to the next fan game. The $10 game is Chill Runners. As soon as I got into the game, I looked around and saw myself in this little box. I went up these blocks to try and see if there was more to the map, but it was just a dead end. So I went and jumped around on the walls to try and have fun, but I got bored, so I left. Chill Runners was really bad. I think I'm gonna give it 1 star. The map was way too small and there was just nothing to do in the game. Let's go try out our next fan game. The $100 game is Random Runners. I hopped into the game and looked around. I saw a mirror, so I went to see what I looked like. Then I had to change my name to check out the rest of the maps. When I went out of the main room, I found this really big ramp, so I climbed up it to see what was up there. There was a hole in the wall that said rotational, and I went to check it out. It was a room with a really nice pool and some slides. I got on the diving board and jumped into the pool. Then I went in one of the slides, and I think I might have broken something. After that, I went to look at the shop. There wasn't anything I liked, so I just went to check out something else. I found this building mode that lets you place down a bunch of different blocks, but it wasn't really that fun, so I left the game. Random Runners was alright. I'm gonna go ahead and give it 2.5 stars. The game looked decent and there was a lot to check out, but it felt pretty boring. Now it's time to move on to the next fan game. The $500 game is Dark Terror. I got into the game and went to change my name. I saw this cool tower, so I went over it to see what was in it. There was a slide at the top and I went down it. It wasn't very good, but it worked. So then I went in the river and started swimming around. I tried getting out, but I couldn't do it. Eventually I managed to do it, then I went to check out the shop. The cosmetics were pretty cool, but I couldn't afford anything. I went to see if there was anything else in the game and found some people. Then I saw this cool wind thing, so I touched it and got sent flying. There wasn't really anything else to check out, so I decided to leave the game. Dark Terror wasn't that great. I'm gonna give it 2 stars. The map looked good, but there just wasn't enough stuff in the game. Now let's go head on to our next fan game. The $1,000 game is Kong. As soon as I got into the game, I went to change my name. I saw some cosmetics, but I couldn't get anything. Then I saw myself in the mirror. I looked really stupid. There was a scary vent, and because I'm not very smart, I decided to jump in it. When I say that this was loud, I am not kidding. I went up some stairs and started exploring. I found these little flashlights, so I grabbed one and kept looking around. Then I found this thing, but it didn't do anything, so I just left it. These other monkeys told me to follow them, so I listened and went with them. They took me into a dark vent and it was really scary. Then I got lost. I kept looking around, but I couldn't find anyone else. So I decided to leave because I was scared. Kong was pretty fun. It wasn't anything too crazy, but it was good. I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. The game was fun and the other players were nice, but it was just too scary for me. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next game. The $2,500 game is Zeus Runners. I got into the game and looked around. There were bookshelves. Yeah, I saw a sign that said something about becoming a trusted user, but I am not playing the game for that long. Then I tried changing my color, but it really didn't want to work. So I just joined the public lobby and went to check out the shop. The room was very big and there were a lot of cosmetics. I saw a sign that said mods, so I went to look at that. They were really expensive, so I went to check out something else. There was a sign that said something about a content creator cosmetic, which you should totally give me. And there was also this rope, so I climbed up it and started exploring. I found this parkour map and I tried beating it. It was really easy. So then I went to the fighting mode. As soon as I got in there, I started getting shot at. I went to check out the shop to get my guns, but it didn't do anything. Then I got bored, so I just decided to leave the game. Zeus Runners was alright. I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. There was a lot of stuff in the game and a lot of other players, but it gets boring after a little while. Let's move on to our next game. The $5,000 game is Moki. As soon as I got into the game, it showed me this really cool loading screen. I climbed up the wall and there was some really nice stuff up there. I threw a mug off one of the platforms and it actually broke, which is really cool. Then I went to check out Sandbox Horror. It was really dark and there were a lot of other people there with me. I kept exploring for a bit, but then the lights turned on, and that's when a monster started chasing me. I managed to jump over it and it kept going, but I wanted to get a closer look, so I went to check it out, and then it attacked me. I tried going back to where I was, but the monster got me again. Eventually I managed to get out, but I just got sucked in by a black hole. Then another monster attacked me, so I decided to go back to the lobby. I went to check out the shop, and that's when I saw my beanie. So of course I had to get it. But there wasn't anything else for me to do, so I just left the game. Moki was pretty fun. I'm giving it 3 stars. The game looked really nice, but the horror mode wasn't too great. Let's go try out our next fan game. The $10,000 game is Scary Baboon. As soon as I got into the game, I changed my color. Then I found this room, but there wasn't anything I liked, so I went to check out something else. I got out of the lobby and started getting chased by one of the monsters. I escaped it, and then I went to explore the map. There was this cool pool room with some slides. I took a little swim, but then I wanted to keep exploring. I almost got back to the lobby, but one of the monsters got me. So I tried out the Squid Game mode. It wasn't very good, so I just left the game. Scary Baboon wasn't that good. I'm giving it 2 stars. The game was really boring, and there just wasn't enough to do. Now let's go try out our next game. The $25,000 game is Sebus. As soon as I got into the game, I got stuck inside of the bed. Eventually I managed to get out, and I went to change my color. After that, I decided to check out the Only Up game mode. I fell almost immediately, so I just went back to the forest. Then I saw a hole in the wall that said glass bridge, so I went in there. I jumped on the first panel, and I was safe. I jumped onto the next panel, and somehow I missed it. I kept playing this game mode for a while, but after dying a couple times, I went to try out something else. I found a button that said PvP, so I clicked that. It kept launching me out of the map. It wasn't very good. After that, I went to check out some of the artwork. There was a lot of cool stuff in there, but I got bored, so I left. Sebus was decent. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. The game was fun, and there was a good amount of stuff to check out, but it just got boring pretty quick. Now let's head on to the next fan game. The $50,000 game is Kapuchin. Once I got into the game, I saw this very creepy monkey staring at me. I didn't like it. Then I had to wait forever for the loading screen to finish. Eventually I managed to actually get into the game, and I saw this cool camera. After messing around with the camera, I went to the computer. It was really confusing, and I just ended up giving up on it. I went to check out the forest, and the movement was really bad. I saw a room that said 0 gravity, so I went to go check that out, but it didn't even work. I tried leaving the map, but I couldn't do it. After about 20 minutes of trying, I finally managed to get out of the map. I went to check out other stuff, but the movement was making me really mad, so I just left the game. Sebus wasn't good. I'm giving it 1.5 stars. The movement was horrible, and the game just wasn't that fun. It's time to move on to our next fan game. The $100,000 game is Yeeps. As soon as I got into the game, it made me read the super long terms of service thing. After doing that, I could finally play the game. Well, that is after I did the tutorial, of course. Eventually, I managed to beat it, so I went to actually check out the game. There was this cool building, but it didn't have anything inside of it. I looked around some more to see if there was anything interesting. There was a shop, so I bought a couple things, but that was really it. I couldn't find anything else that was fun in the game, so I just left. Yeeps was not the best. I'm gonna give it 2 stars. The game looks nice, and there's a lot of cool mechanics, but it's just not fun. Let's go on to our next fan game. The $250,000 game is Big Scary. I got into the game and went to change my name and my color. Then I joined a lobby and went into this weird cave. I saw a bunch of different slides, and I hopped in one of them to see what it was. It put me in this small room, and I joined a lobby to figure out what I'm supposed to do. I saw a bunch of people, but then they just completely vanished. After messing around in there for a bit, I found a hole, so I jumped in it, and it put me back at the start. Then I decided to try out the green slide, and it put me in another room. So I joined a lobby and went to check it out. I found a bunch of blocks sitting around, and I started breaking all of them. Then I gathered a couple blocks and started building. After a while, I got bored, so I went to check out something else. I got to the shop, and I tried getting one of the hats. I got my hat, and then I went to the first level and tried to beat it. But then the monster came out of nowhere and attacked me, so I just decided to try out another level. I pressed all the buttons, then I made it to the next level, but I didn't really want to play the game anymore, so I just decided to leave. Big Scary was pretty fun. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. The game is very well made, and there's a lot of stuff to do. Now let's go try out our next fan game. The $500,000 game is Animal Company. Once I got into the game, it put me in this strange black room. Eventually I made it into the game, and I went to go explore. I found this cool cave, and I went to see what was inside of it. I kept going further and further, but I couldn't find anything interesting. After exploring for a bit, I found some cool stuff, so I mined it and put it in my backpack. Then I decided to explore some more. I fell into this pit, and that's when I found even more stuff to mine, but then my pickaxe broke. I tried getting back up, but it wouldn't let me. Eventually I figured it out and made it out of the cave. Once I made it back to the surface, I went to check out the shop. There wasn't really anything cool, so I just went to see what everyone else was doing. There were a bunch of people trading, some people screaming, and that was it. But then I saw a hole in the ground, so I went down it to see what I could find. There were these little bomb guys, but they didn't do anything interesting. After that, I got bored, so I just left the game. Animal Company was alright. I'll give it 2.5 stars. The map was too big and it was too confusing, but other than that, it was kind of fun. Now let's go ahead and move on to our final fan game. The $1 million fan game is Bois. I got into the game and looked around. I was in the lobby, so I couldn't do anything. Eventually, the game loaded and I went to check everything out. I set my name and my color, then I went to my garden. There was this really big coconut tree that I thought was pretty cool. I climbed up it, and it took me a while. But then I decided to start playing the game. I got some strawberries and sold them. Then I got some more seeds and started planting. I got a really nice strawberry farm, and I collected all of them and sold them. There wasn't much to do in the game. I kept planting and selling for a while, but eventually I just got bored and left. Bois wasn't too great. I'll give it 2 stars. The game is really boring and there's nothing to do. It looks cool, but it's just not enough. Now join the Discord, there's a link in the description.